Okay, now that we have created that wiki, let's go back and look at what we need to put into the wiki. So we're going to put this on the first page. In other words, that home page that is created automatically for us. And if we go back and look here, remember we created a page, and you can call it whatever you want. This is my home page for EDAP 585, or you can become as creative as you want with that. The thing to realize is every time you create a new page in Wikispaces, you must put something on that page before you save it. Otherwise, it goes away. In other words, if there's nothing there, Wikispaces doesn't understand that there's a page there. Let's go back and look. So the first thing it wants us to do is to create a Voki that speaks to your overall educational philosophy. Well, this is Voki. It's located at Voki.com. You are more than welcome to use my login. So let me show you what that looks like. So when we get here, we're going to go over here to login. And as you can see, this is my login name. This will be something you'll use for just about everything we create from here on out. And as you can see, it says sbswan02@louisville.edu. The password, write this down, is lowercase ULIT241. All one word, all lowercase. ULIT241. What is a Voki? A Voki is a wonderful, cute way of you creating a avatar that can express anything. And the beauty of it is you can go back in and out of your avatar and change the wording of what it says anytime you want, and it feeds it through to your wiki. Now, there are some problems with Voki and Wikispaces, and these have to do with permissions. In other words, your Wikispace is very good at keeping bad things from happening to your Wikispace. In doing so, we have to remember then that when we create things, we have to be aware of that. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. I'm going to go through this not real quickly, but rather quickly, because once you get into it, it's just play around and have fun. But first of all, what you're going to do is you're going to start by create a Voki. You then move to where the head is, and this allows you to pick the kind of head you want on your Voki, and you can then change the look, the beginning look of your Voki, and just scroll around, find a different head that works for you. There are different categories, and as you see, I'm already getting lost in this, trying to come up with what I want to use. Let's try politics. Oh, look, they've got the Donald in the politics. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I always pick John McCain because he's got a big fat head like I do. I can then work around with hair if I want to. I can work with kind of a mustachy thing if I want to. Or I can work with lips. You get the idea. You can tweak things by playing with color over here. You can have big mouth, small mouth, thin-lipped, which I think is probably the way he is. I think you get the idea. When you're done, you can then record what you want your Voki to say. Now I'm going to just use the typing one. And the assignment says that we're supposed to put in a Voki that speaks to your overall educational philosophy. All right. So I'm going to type in teachers touch tomorrow like no other vocation. I'm going to hear what it sounds like, just to be on the safe side.
First touch tomorrow, not no other vocation.
Okay. And I'm going to change the voice, obviously, because that's a female voice. Let's try James here.
First touch tomorrow, not no other vocation.
I think not is the wrong word to use there, so I'll take it out. And we will put in like, because that is the right word I wanted to use.
First touch Tomerol like no other vocation.
Tomerol. You do realize this gets to be fun after a while. Okay. So I'm going to play it this time, and hopefully he says it right.
Teachers touch tomorrow like no other vocation.
There you go. So now I've got my words right. How many words can you put in here? An awful lot. I mean, you can have this thing go on for a good 30 seconds if you want him to. This one is you can record your own voice in. My Mac right now doesn't seem to want to allow this to happen, so I'm not going to do it. If you're on a Windows machine, no problem. It'll pop up with a little message that says, do you want to allow Flash to access your microphone? Say allow, and then you're off to the races and it will work. When I'm finished, I'm going to click done. There are other things you can do. You can change the background, so on and so on. I'm going to publish now. Give it a title. And I'm going to save it. Now, this is all changed, so I need you to pay attention, those of you who have done this before. You'll notice over here we have all kinds of different ways to save this. We're going to want the embed code. Now, this is very important. Once you understand how embed codes work, then everything from here on out just becomes very simple to put things into your wiki space. So I'm going to click embed. Watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to decide on my size. I'm going to go ahead with large. I'm going to decide whether I want it to be a horizontal or vertical. I'll leave it at horizontal. Down here, though, is where we need to look. Wiki Spaces has not updated the way it handles Flash and Java-based applications. Therefore, we want to use the older version of Flash. Make sure you check that little button there. And then right below it, you'll remember that when we set up our wiki space, we told it that it had to always force our browsers into SSL mode. Remember that? Okay. This is basically Wikispace's way of preventing things that are harmful, viruses, etc., from getting through to your computer, and you've checked that. So now, over here, you've got to make sure that you're telling that it uses the secure connection. That's what HTTPS means, by the way. It means that it has a secure connection. Okay, once I've done those two things, well, actually three things, I've decided how big I want it to be. I said I'm going to go large. I'm going to leave it at vertical because it's big now. Don't have to worry about this because when I click on copy code, it'll copy it. Make sure you've turned it back to Flash. And make sure you've checked that. Okay, I'm now going to copy the code. Once I've copied the code, I can come back over here to my wiki space. I'm going to put this on my home page. I'm going to be careful about where my cursor is because that's where this Voki that I've created is going to end up. If I have my cursor right there, it's going to go in between my and home. So I'm going to make sure that I kick it down a couple. I'm going to go to widget. I'm going to go to other HTML. I'm going to go into this box and I'm going to paste. If you're worried about whether or not it's going to work, you can do a preview. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Now, notice it puts a little box here. This little box does not represent how big it's going to be. It's just a placeholder. When I click Save, what is going to happen is the Voki loads onto my page. It's that simple. So now I have a Voki on my page. And when I move my mouse around it, he looks around everywhere, drives kids nuts. And then if I click on the arrow,
touch tomorrow like no other vocation.
And then he says what it is that we've typed in there. Now I told you that you can actually change what your Voki says without having to go through all this rigmarole of putting it in and out of your wiki space. Let me show you how. It's very simple. Go back into Voki, go to your creation, click Edit, click on where you had written something in, and now you can type something else in. Teachers touch the future. Done and publish. You don't have to do anything else. It will feed it through to your wiki space.
Here's our gifts.
Make sure you reload the page.
Here's touch the future.
There you go. So you can go back in, change what you want him to say by hitting Edit, make your changes, make sure you click Done when you do that, and then when you click Publish, it will push it through to your wiki page. And that is how we put a Voki on our wiki page.